Now we see Huck moving in with these Void Rays. This scouting factory, very interesting. Now, he's already invested somewhat in siege tech, but this is a good amount of siege tanks. These Ravens not going to really be doing anything, just there to look neat. Putting down a building. Yes, because buildings are terrific against Void Rays. I mean, just absolutely monstrous. Now, what we're seeing here is Huck absolutely decimate with Void Rays. Void Rays and Immortals are the two best building destroyers in the game. Void Rays simply because they charge up and then they do a ton of damage. Immortals because they do a ton of damage. And so what we're seeing here is Huck try to move in and just kill MVP or limit his production sufficiently to win the game a little bit, but Huck still doesn't know about this base from IMMVP. Meanwhile, IMMVP is doing his best to lose the game in the most spectacular fashion possible, defending for what seems like hours, all these SCVs. They're not even an auto repair. Now we look at upgrades. Huck has 2 shield upgrades and 1 air attack. MVP has only one bio attack. Huck's sentries doing very little. These dozen marauders are going to be great against the Void Rays. This is really funny to watch. I mean, these Void Rays are just ripping through everything Huck has. Now you can micro Void Rays you can micro Vikings indefinitely versus Void Rays, but it's very micro intensive, and so a player like MVP can pull it off, but I don't know if we can pull it off. It's better just to have more. So this is a fleet of 5 Void Rays, and he is producing 2 Void Rays at a time without Chrono Boost, because as we said, Huck doesn't use Chrono Boost. He has a ton of it. He has like 300, and it could be used on, say, these shield upgrades, which would be very helpful, or perhaps this air attack. But instead, he is using it for nothing, to look neat, to make his buildings have this nice pinkish hue. Now we see IMMVP moving out this 3rd command center. Now the Void Rays should be able to kill this next to instantly. Alright, are they going to intersect? Is he going to see it? Yep, there we go. Alright, let's see how quickly this thing goes down. As soon as these things get charged. Goodbye. There we go. And good night. All the siege tanks trying to siege. That's great. Now, what you want to do with Void Rays in this situation is just use them to kill the highest value targets you can, because they're not going to survive. So you might want to use them to kill the Marauders. And oh! Finally, Huck discovers this base. So IMMVP is in sort of a bad situation now, because let's face it, he has like nothing. Huck taking his 4th base. Now, let's look at IMMVP's upgrades. Where's his engineering bay? Doobie-doo, engineering bay. There it is. He's not getting anything else. He's making a factory, so he can probably make an armory. He does have stim, concussive shell, and marine shield. Huck transferring all these workers over because, I mean, he has Chrono Boost not to spend to build more. Look at the units tab, and I'll also open up the name tab again. Look at the units tab. We see it's 29 workers to 71. 71 is significantly bigger than 29. We also see a fleet beacon, so come on, Huck. Yes, he's building carriers. I love you, Huck. Ugh, you're so awesome. He could be building, he could be making higher air attack, and right now, making carriers, I really hope he wins. I hope this isn't a mistake that costs him the game. The problem is there's a large number of Vikings, so you might want to, instead of making 2 carriers here, just make 2 Phoenix. They're quick and they're cheap, and you can make 2 Phoenix, Chrono Boost them out, or just make like 6 Phoenix with Chrono Boost. Takes like 10 minutes, or 10 seconds, pardon. And then you could also be building some more Stalkers. Now we see a Dark Shrine coming in, a good choice, because Dark Templars late game are really great. He's also researched the Interceptor speed release. Huck has great pylon placement all over the map. Those are 3 proxy pylons, plus a bunch of others. Now this is a good choice by IMMVP. I would have just liked to see him put it slightly behind the mineral line, because this is slightly manner. Although, you know what, it may not be, because this is a high yield, and so that doesn't actually intersect a single, what do you call it? That's right, a mineral patch. So this is Immortals, and Carriers, and High Templar, and Stalkers. He has more carriers on the way. He also has air attack level 2 as well as psionic storm, plus 4 more gateways. This is why a Protoss is so dangerous late game. If we look back at the units tab, it is 70 workers to 40 workers. We also see now just a very small drop. IMMVP taking an odd base location, but he is clearing out a proxy, which is good. Now we see Huck moving in for a major attack. Can he take the victory here? A good blink up to try to kill the annoying Vikings. Some excellent MVPs by MVP. EMPs by MVP. And now there actually might be not enough Vikings to take down the carriers. And carriers are admittedly not great against Marines, but they're not bad either. And if you can say Psystorm the Marines right here, oh, excellent, to protect the carriers. Another Psystorm right there, and ooh, they're all dead. Ooh, 2 brilliant Psystorms. Oh man, almost everything is in the red, plus there's 2 more carriers waiting in the wings. Meanwhile, back in Huck's base, he is just not chrono boosting things. He did chrono boost the Templar Archer slightly, and he does have 3 shield. I'd like to see him get armor now, because he doesn't actually care about his units killing things, he cares about his units not dying. He has air units to kill things. Now this should not be enough Marines to kill these carriers, because the carriers are on +2 damage, they also +1 armor and +3 shields, and so the upgrade advantage of Huck should allow him to have complete air superiority. Now we see interceptors kill things really, really fast. Meanwhile, Huck is just going, I'm not going to spend Chrono Boost. IMMVP is continuing to wonder why he is still in this game. It doesn't really make sense, because he's never had a lead, Huck has always been dominant, and he's never had any money to spend. He now has 37 fewer workers, Huck has more than double. If we look at the income tab, yes, that number is significantly larger than the other. We also, if we look at the production tab, we see Huck producing carriers and immortals, as well as a Robo Bay and cannons, while poor MVP is producing 3 basic units. Now, I do have to give it to Huck for having better upgrades, and it looks like he's going to be trying to do some immortal drops. Now, these carriers are relatively fast. They have 1.88 ground speed, which, to give you a reference point, let me find something with comparable ground speed. Let's medevac. Medevac 2.5, Viking 2.75. Does this thing show their ground speed? No. Well, it doesn't look like Huck has anything slow right now, but let's look at, say, this guy, 2.75, but he has charge, 2.25. Wow, I've never even... Here, let's look at what the Immortals' weapons are called. Phase Disruptors. That's cool. The Interceptors are called Interceptors. High Templars have Psionic Storms. Those are the Psi Disruptors, I believe. Particle Disruptors, there we go. So, oh yeah, well, because Stalkers are like this game's Dragoons, and then these are actually Dragoons in Immortal casings. So, of course, they're going to be called Disruptors. Herb, that's great. The Warp Prism filled with 4 High Templar to go and kill no workers, and High Templar can't kill buildings. That's really funny. Now, IMMVP actually has more ground upgrades than Huck. Huck just has 3 shield, because Huck is going for air, and shield covers air. Now, what I would also like to see Huck do is start producing a lot of Archons, because a shield upgrade is most beneficial to Archons, because Archons have like 300 shield. And so when you have this heavy shield investment, an Archon is always a better choice. Now, we saw there that Marines versus high shield upgraded Zealots is a very one-sided matchup. Now, IMMVP just really wants to get a great EMP right here. A good Psystorm there to cover the advancement of these carriers. If you get enough carriers, the Interceptors kill the Vikings before the Vikings can shoot down the carriers. So once you get about 6 or 7, the Interceptors start killing stuff very, very fast, and they start confusing the AI a lot. And it becomes dangerous to sit there and try to kill Vikings, or to try to kill carriers with Vikings. Excellent use there, Blink to protect his carriers. Come on, Huck, just chrono boost it, please. He's getting Warp Prism speed. Oh my god. Wow, that is so stupid. He got Observer speed and now Warp Prism speed before Is he not building Colossus? He just got that for the upgrades to the other stuff. That is really awesome. God, Huck, you're so cool. Now, a few carriers right there could do wonders, because carriers have such a high range. Now, you saw carriers get a lot of play in StarCraft 1. They were sort of the go-to unit. It was 2-base carrier play. That was the strongest thing in the game. And the reason you don't see more carriers now is because... How much does an interceptor build cost? Alright, 25 resources. The reason you don't see carriers now is they're really hard to micro. They have, I think, the highest DPS potential in the game. They launch 8 interceptors, which can each do... how many attack upgrades? 3. So they can each do 5 damage. So that is 40 damage. That's 20 DPS. That's really high. And we also see that they do confuse the AI. A carrier is not a target priority. What's a target priority is a an interceptor. So now we see 4 carriers, a bunch of stalkers, and some immortals going off against the bio army. Oh my god, unbelievable Psystorms. Thank you, Warp Prism with a Templar. He still has 1 more Storm available, so an excellent EMP right there, but a great blink by Huck to protect him. Now these are too many Vikings to shoot down with interceptors. But all of this bio is extremely low on health. There's 1 ghost here that can still EMP. Now we see just 3 carriers remaining for Huck. If we look at the units tab, he is still up slightly on food. He has 7 zealots, 2 dark templars, 3 carriers, 4 high templar, and 24 interceptors. Wow, that is actually enough carriers to hold. That is remarkable. Now we do see here the advantage of the carrier in that they can retreat, but their interceptors still attack. That was the advantage of the carrier, pardon. Nowadays it's more just the remembered advantage of the carrier. So the last carrier is going down for Huck. In the production tab, we see he's making 2 more carriers. Good boy, Huck, as well as getting air armor level 2 and ground armor level 2. He's then going to get ground attack level 1. This is very good. Zealot carrier is the rags to riches Protoss. This carrier has 18 kills.